What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about my Ouija board experience. But before we get into that, I want to make a little announcement. So I am starting a podcast, and this is the first episode. The podcast is going to be called Wisdom Wayne. It's a play on my album Whiskey Wayne and kind of that persona. It was an idea I had for an album, but I think it's a really cool title for a podcast, so that's what it's going to be called. And I don't really have like the professional podcast equipment yet, and I might still do some car videos and include that in the podcast. But when I was at the Blackstone Launchpad at UCF, the entrepreneurial incubator, my mentor there, Pam Hosel, always said to just start. She was really big on just starting. So that's what I'm doing. Here we go. So before I get into kind of my experience, I'll kind of give you a little history about Ouija boards, a little background, if you will. So Ouija boards go way back, and they used to be called spirit boards and other things, talking boards. There were a lot of different variations, but it became wildly popular whenever Hasbro released their version of it, which was like a game that anybody could go buy. And I'm pretty sure you could still buy them in stores today, like at Target or just any kind of store. So it has the whole alphabet, and then it has the sun and the moon, which is yes or no, and then at the bottom it has goodbye. So you kind of and the planchette, which is the little triangle thing that has a little circle in it. Whenever the planchette and the board are connected, then the portal is kind of open. So like you have to be cautious or be careful, because I've heard stories and I've seen videos where people just have the planchette on the board and it starts moving by itself, which is really scary. I never experienced that luckily, but I've heard stories of it happening. So it's like really weird. You're never supposed to do it by yourself, which I think I did one time. Um, but it just like opens yourself up even more to the malicious kind of spirits. But you're supposed to have two or more people, and you put your fingers on the planchette and then kind of just ask the spirits questions, and then it kind of guides your fingers. And a lot of people say that it's kind of like a subconscious reaction or reflex to kind of move it where you want to, and kind of like it's more subconscious, and which I could see that. But some people also believe that it's just, communicating with spirits. So I'd love to know what you guys think. So put down below. And if you have any Ouija board experiences, please share them in the comments below, because I find it really fascinating and terrifying. Because I don't know, it just feels like a very vulnerable thing. But yeah, so you and your friend put your fingers on it and do the whatever, ask questions. And while you're doing this, like the portal is open. You ask them, is there anyone here that would like to speak to us? They either say yes or no. If they say yes, then you can ask questions. And then sometimes they spell stuff backwards or in different languages. Um, and then, yeah, there's certain questions that you can't ask or you're not supposed to ask, like when you're gonna die, about heaven or hell. Um, the spirits usually don't like answering those kind of questions for whatever reason. But one of the most important things when using a Ouija board is saying goodbye and like moving the planchette over goodbye to kind of close off the communication. Because if you don't, then the spirits are kind of free to just hang out. And I have read about cases where people get possessed, which, I don't know about that per se. I think it does open you up to kind of dark energy, but I guess some people got possessed, and had to have exorcisms. So that's really scary. But yeah, like I said, I don't mess with Ouija boards anymore, and I probably never will. Just because I feel, like I said in the past videos, I feel more intuitive, um, and I feel like I can kind of get my messages other ways. But like starting out when I didn't really know about intuition and tarot cards and other kinds of ways of communicating, I thought the Ouija board would be a good place to start. So my Ouija board experience. So in the past couple of videos, I'm sure you could pick up on the fact that I'm really into kind of like creepy horror kind of things and the macabre. I think it was like my freshman year of college at UCF. I really started exploring these kind of creepy kind of things, and that led me to get a Ouija board and do that. So me and my friend Ayrton, um, I think we went to like Toys R Us or something and bought a Ouija board off the shelf and went home and tried it out. And I don't remember the girl's name that we were talking to, um, but it was very interesting. And I was very scared at first because, growing up in a religious household and growing up in church, that's one of those things where it's like you don't mess with that. And even now today, I will not touch one. I was very I was very naive, um, and didn't really know what I was getting myself into, because I was just very trusting and very, whatever. I didn't think that there would be like any bad kind of spirits that would try to interact with us. Um, so we did that. We would like every couple of nights or something, like a couple times a week, we would play with the Ouija board, and it felt like we were uncovering like some dark pasts of the UCF campus and the my apartment that I was staying off campus. And we had one of our friends, Austin, do it with us as well. But unlike Ayrton and I, he was not respectful of the spirits. So I remember, I think they kind of got mad at him. And we asked the spirits why they don't like Austin, and they said, spelled out car. I do remember this. And then I don't know if it was the same night or like a night or two after, Austin told us that in the middle of the night, he had this little like remote control car in his closet that he used for some kind of like school project, and it didn't have any batteries in it, but in the middle of the night it fell out of the closet and like turned up, the lights turned on and everything with no batteries in it. So that was strange. Yeah, that's when like the weirdness started happening. Um, Before then, it was just very fun and very innocent. And then after that point, it started getting more creepy. So I did move in between this time. I think it was a couple years that we were doing this. And then I made Ouija boards because I found out you could just make them, just write them down on like cardboard or whatever, and just use a shot glass as the planchette. So I did that, and some creepy things started happening at the house I moved to. So, I lived with a guy and a girl, and the girl roommate was an atheist, and she did not believe in any kind of stuff like that. But after we did the Ouija board there, some weird things started happening, and she witnessed some of them. So she was like, "Yeah, I don't believe in this, but this is really creepy." So, um, What happened was one night she was watching Netflix in the living room, and just like out of nowhere, the screen would turn black, and you would hear this like low pitched voice speaking in Latin. And it would just do that and then go back to normal. And then it did it a couple times. But after that, it never happened again. So that was very strange. And then I had some experiences of my own. So the bedroom I was in had a sliding glass door. Um, and one night I saw some shadowy figures standing by the door, and then I heard some knocks, some little taps on the window, and that was really creepy. I was really scared. So, yeah, after that kind of stuff started happening, and we also encountered a Ouija board demon, and I'm not gonna say their name, but it's spelled Zozo. If you want to look into that, go right ahead. But apparently, it's a very common Ouija board demon. Um, so yeah, after that, I was like, I don't know about this. And prior to encountering and learning about these Ouija board demons, I started learning more about using Ouija boards and realized that this particular tool attracts a lot of low level, like low energy demons or entities or spirits or whatever. So I would be thinking that I would be talking to my grandma or something, and then they would start spelling out the ZOZO. And I'm like, okay, goodbye. So I think they were just like some malicious spirits just playing tricks on us. But that was an era of my life. And actually, I was on the front cover of the Central Florida Future, which was the newspaper at UCF. I don't think that it exists anymore, but they did a story about me and my Ouija board experiences. And after that was published, I was invited to the Central Florida Future office, and they wanted to do the Ouija board on camera. So I brought the Ouija board and we did like a session on camera. They filmed it and broadcasted it. And we were talking to Miley Cyrus on the Ouija board. It was very silly. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of my experience with the Ouija board. There was a lot more that I probably can't remember. I know me and Ayrton did bury a Ouija board at one point, and I do have a video clip of that, so I'll insert that for the people watching the video. And if you're listening to the podcast, then go ahead and check out the video on my YouTube channel. It's Matt, Matte, like a matte finish, Velvet Official. Thank you so much for tuning into this first episode of the Wisdom Wayne podcast. If you want to follow me on my other accounts, Instagram, Matt Velvet. It's MatteVelvet, Matt Velvet. Matte like the finish, velvet like the texture. And the same thing on Snapchat, it's Matt Velvet. YouTube channel is youtube.com/Matt Velvet Official. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.